Very quickly before Tony gets into this, hey everyone, I'm Jamie, Director of Member Services. I'm about to put a link in the chat box. As you all know, ISPC is a 501c3 nonprofit, which is how we are able to offer free webinars every month this year. That being said, if you would like to donate a little or a lot, we're happy to have that. There's going to be a link in the chat button now. You can click it, donate whatever you want. It is tax deductible. I will send you a letter signed by the president of our company, Mr. Ron Schenk, with all of our tax information that you can use as a write-off this year. So anything and everything would be appreciated. With that, Tony, take it away. I will, if you want to put questions in during the presentation, I will interrupt Tony as those come in and have him answer them in real time. And I will do my best to get everything answered as I can. So if I pop in and interrupt, that is the only reason. I'm going to go mute and turn my camera off for now and let Tony take it away. You guys enjoy.
Thank you, Jamie. And like she said, we are a not-for-profit company, so we're not here to make money. We're here to promote safety, and that's what we do. Welcome to Defensive Driving for CMV drivers. Now, I understand that most of the folks on this call are not commercial motor vehicle drivers, but you're probably influenced or in control of some of the CMV drivers. I've done many audits for companies throughout the years. We've come on site and evaluated drivers. We've done a 4-hour, this is actually a 4-hour driver training that I reduced down to about an hour. And we also have, if you're a member of ISPC, we also have this as one of the safety meeting topics. It's about 30 slides. Each slide has talking notes to it, so you can just go online as a member, download that and show that to your folks, you know, and it's got all, like I said, it's got all of the speaker notes in there, so, you know, you wouldn't just be trying to stumble around on slides and things. So I've done many audits with different companies. I've come in and done 4-hour training with some of the CMV drivers, and then actually individually evaluated pre-trip inspections. There are some of their driving skills. I'd go out and make a little course for them to drive around. And one of the things that I discovered in this driving is there's not a lot of our line workers that know how to use and properly drive a standard vehicle. I have noticed in the industry that most companies are going to automatic vehicles because they're tired of replacing the clutches. And it was just amazing to me. I had at one company about 75 drivers, and the leadership wanted to know how many of those drivers actually passed the pre-trip inspection and the driving portion, as if I was a third-party tester, you know, coming in and they're getting their license. And it was probably about 80% that failed. And I would not give them a commercial motor vehicle license, a CDL Class A, for their driving styles. And to make matters even worse, I had one of the guys, I was riding along with a guy had a digger derrick truck with a pole trailer. We didn't have any material on the trailer, but we were coming down the road, and another guy working for the same company tried to pull into a fast food chain parking lot. And it was a what I call a 5-lane highway. It's got that center turn lane. And he had his cell phone on his left shoulder. He was turning the wheel with his right hand, and also had a Coke or some kind of beverage in his left hand, and stopped and shifted, downshifted so that he could get into the parking lot, and pulled, I mean, right in front of us. We had to brake heavy so that we would not hit his trailer. So, it's just knowing that someone is here watching and they're still driving like that. You can just imagine what your guys are doing out there. So I'll kind of get on into this. What you'll see, I'll cover a few little case studies. We'll talk about some pet peeves that everyone has. We'll, mention some good driving tips and things like that. So, like I said, this is a 4-hour training that cut down to 1 hour, so I don't take up too much of your time. But I think every company has had some kind of defensive driving training, whether it's National Safety Council methods or the Smith system was so popular for so many years. And our good friends at JJ Keller offer a lot of good driver training. And there's a lot of other ones out there, a lot of private companies, doing defensive driving and trying to improve the overall driving habits of your employees. So the 2020 driving flavor, what kind of training did we try to do in 2020 or 2019? 2020 was such a unusual year. But what was your driver training flavor? A lot of companies may have used LMS to reduce striking stationary objects, practicing good driving tips and things like that. Implementing spotter techniques, thou shalt not back without a spotter, things like that. Conducted driver auditor training. Are your guys doing logbooks? Is there anyone looking after those logbooks? Who's keeping up with the driver's license themselves and the physicals that go along with that? A lot of companies just don't realize the risk that they're actually taking by having a driver that may have an expired physical or even a flag on their driver's license. Somebody may have gotten a ticket in their own vehicle, and now there's they thought somebody was going to fix it for them. Now there's a flag on their license, and this guy is out there driving your vehicle, and they drive into the back of a school bus. Watch out! You just cost the company a whole lot of money. We've conducted in the past, defensive driving safety training, invested large sums of money into, different apparatus. Some companies have actually put cameras in the vehicle where if there's a sudden movement in the vehicle, the camera records, goes back like 5 or 6 seconds and records. So companies, trying to get a handle on what we need to do to make our drivers better, reduce the risk for our company, and is anything working for that for you? Has anyone had any success doing this? Driver competency assessments. That's one of what we call our 4-hour training. Just come in and do some assessment of your overall driver program, do some audits on logbooks and things like that, timesheets. How are you guys driving? How many hours are they driving? How many miles are they going and things like that. We also have a CMV driver assessment. That's 8-hour. Basically, I spend 4 hours in the classroom one day and then 8 hours a day, depending on how many drivers you would have. So we would do the pre-trip inspection, and then I'd set out a course for them to actually do some driving. And we just talk about some basic safe driving habits and techniques that they can improve on. We have them do a little bit of backing during that. So I have them do a straight back. I have them back into a dock with a trailer. And then, driving on a 2-lane road, driving on a highway, may have exits and things like that. So I'm kind of looking at their hazard recognition and things like that. So that's the CMV driver assessment. And then the cushion of space. One of the big things I'm looking at is, are these guys driving these larger vehicles? Are they leaving a cushion of space? Are they tailgating? Are they making drivers that are driving next to them very nervous by the way that they're driving, things like that. So many companies have implemented a lot of safety rules. I know several companies that have instituted backing rules when you drive a company vehicle, or if you're driving your own personal vehicle on company business and getting reimbursed for it, thou shalt back. And back every time. That way your first move is forward. We actually have one company that we were working with. They implemented the backing rule, and their the way they listed it was striking objects. Their incident rate went up by about 20 the following year. So basically what these guys were doing was they were backing in, but they were not paying any attention to what was in front of them. So on job sites, you may have a fire hydrant, you may have a little metal stanchion or something in front, and these guys were running over them. They were running over curbs and blowing out tires. So, they were backing in the way they were supposed to, but they were not paying attention to driving straight forward. Cell phone use. Most companies have implemented a hands-free cell phone safety rule, making sure that all their guys are driving hands-free. And we still have some problems with that, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Speed limits. Do you have any reports of passersby or possibly folks in school zones and things like that may be reporting some of your drivers that are driving a little too fast on the highway? And I'll just say this, all right? I've been practicing defensive driving skills for about 25 years now. And have I perfected them? No, I haven't. You may ask the question, Tony, do you ever speed? Yes, I do. We have our speed limits on the interstate 75. I may set my cruise at 79. What I want to do is a lot of these big trucks, I want to be able to get around them a little bit faster. So I might set it up to 79. Now, if we're in some heavy traffic, like for instance, Baton Rouge, speed limit is 60. Am I going to drive 75? No, I'm going to drive 60 and try to flow along with the traffic. But I don't tailgate. I leave a good cushion of space around me, and I try to always make sure that I'm not placing any stress on any drivers that are around me. A lot of companies have implemented cone placement as their exit strategy. When you pull in or back into a parking space, you put a cone out. And, all these safety rules are very good. One of the problems with safety rules is 2-3 years down the road, these guys get used to it. It becomes a habit where now they pick up the cone, they throw it in the back of the truck without even thinking about why they're picking up the cone and throwing it in the back of the truck. The cone is there to make sure that these guys are going to look around the vehicle, see if there's anything there. And so, that's some of the problems that I've seen with certain safety rules without, keeping up, reminding your drivers what they're for. Beacon lights. I know several companies that have beacon lights. On your company truck, you have a beacon light. If you're on the highway trying to patrol an electric line, you have the beacon on. If you're on the side of the road, you've got your cones out and you have a beacon. It's just an extra visible for other drivers to see you. I had one company that right before I got there, they decided, hey, let's put a white flashing light on the back end right at the tailgate of all of our trucks, bucket trucks, digger derricks. The problem was in the state of Louisiana, this was against the law. White flashing lights are only allowed on school buses. And so anyway, once the CMV driver got his first ticket for having a white flashing light as he was driving down the road, the company then had to spend money taking all those flashing lights off. So, we get some good ideas every now and then. We just have to check and make sure what the law says. All right. And then some companies actually have what they call critical rules. If you're caught speeding over 5 miles an hour inside of a school zone, thou shalt find another job. One of the problems with that is I haven't found any of the companies who have implemented those critical rules actually put any real weight on them. One of the things is we need line workers. There's a shortage of line workers in our field. And, just because one guy drove a little fast through one school zone, I can work with that. But I need his line work skills. I can't just get some kid off the street, teach him how to drive a commercial motor vehicle and expect him to be a lineman. So, some of the problems with your critical rules. I'm going to go through a couple of case studies here. Clear summer afternoon, Jerry, not his real name, was on his way to his next work assignment. His utility truck was packed with everything he needed for the next week. It's about 4 p.m. He'd been on the road for about 4 hours, and he had more than 2 hours left to drive. So he was going to get in about 6 p.m. to his destination. He had to get up and go to work at 3 a.m. the next morning. So he was driving eastbound in the right lane of a straight section of a 6-lane interstate highway. Speed limit 70 miles an hour. And Jerry crested a slight hill, revealing a mile's visibility of interstate. So we're wide open, straight road. We don't have any curves or anything that we have to really pay attention to. 1/2 mile ahead at the bottom of the hill, traffic was backed up. At least as far as the next hill. So the traffic is backed up, traveling very slow. His utility truck struck the rear end of a tractor trailer that was creeping along very slowly in the right lane. Upon impact, Jerry's truck intruded into the trailer up to the trailer's rear axle, as you can see the pictures. The force of this underride collision drove both vehicles into the rear of another tractor trailer that was right in front and stopped in the right lane. Eyewitnesses called 911. Emergency responders arrived within minutes, and Jerry was pronounced dead at the scene. And here's what the investigation of the crash revealed. Post-impact skid marks, and I'm going to go back to this picture. You can see very little skid marks. So Jerry was evidently not paying attention. But here you can see that what he was paying attention to was his cell phone, because at 4:04 p.m., the time of the collision, he was initiating a message. So Jerry was texting while he was driving your company vehicle and smashed into the back of a 18-wheeler and lost his life. Very tragic, very tragic. So was this an accident or a collision? Well, the definition of accident is an unintentional injury, undesirable, incidental, and unplanned event that could have been prevented had circumstances leading up to the accident been recognized and acted upon prior to its occurrence. So that's the key definition of the accident: could have been prevented. If it couldn't have been prevented, then it was an accident. So what we're having out there, and it's just the English language. We use accident all the time. This guy had an accident. That guy had an accident. Actually, what they're having is collisions. A collision is an event in which two or more bodies or pieces of matter exert forces on each other for a relatively short time. So I believe what we're having is accidents. The National Safety Council and the ANSI ASSE Z15.1 folks define defensive driving skills as driving to save lives, time, and money in spite of the conditions around you and the actions of others. All right. It's a form of training for motor vehicle drivers. J.J. Keller uses a lot of this. That goes beyond mastery of the rules of the road and basic mechanics of driving. Its aim is to reduce the risk of collisions by anticipating dangerous situations despite adverse conditions or the mistakes of others. I could sit here for probably about 2 hours and tell you of all the collisions that I've avoided throughout my driving career. Uh, I'll just mention one briefly. It's a rear end collision. I saw the traffic ahead was stopped, and looking in my rearview mirror, there was an 18-wheeler and he was hauling logs. Speed limit was 50 miles an hour, and I knew that he was going a little bit faster than that. He had gotten into the right-hand lane and had to slow down a little bit. The traffic around us was doing about 50, and then we crested a hill, saw that, beyond that, the traffic was actually stopped, so we began braking. When I looked in my mirror, I saw this guy had gotten over into the left-hand lane behind me. And when I saw him in my mirror, I saw that he was not looking ahead. And it did not look like he was moving, toward the process of braking his vehicle. So, I was in a company truck, and there was a large median. And I said, I cannot be part of this collision. So I pulled off into the median and passed up about 5 cars. And as I looked in my mirror, the guy struck one car, made it strike 3 other cars. So I was, not part of a collision because I was paying attention. I wish I could have warned the other drivers as well. But, I kept the company vehicle out of a collision. I have several little stories that I could tell. But here's some of the tragic stories. Linda Hollingsworth, 66, was attempting to cross a northbound Highway 70 at approximately 9:50 a.m. So it's close to 10 o'clock in the morning. 93 Chevy pickup truck. She pulled into the path of a 2004 F550 utility truck after the initial impact of vehicles struck a utility pole in the nearest corner of the intersection, causing Hollingworth's vehicle to roll over, come to a final rest with the truck on top of it. Very tragic. An Ohio woman was seriously injured when her car collided head-on with the utility truck. The driver of the utility truck was not injured. The Impala was westbound when the car went left of center and collided with the 2015 Ford truck. So, how does someone drive left of center right into another truck unless they're doing something besides paying attention? Here, another tragic 3-year-old girl was killed. Her 8-month-old brother critically injured in a crash. The driver of the utility truck rear-ended the station wagon. The station wagon was third in line to turn, and the impact drove the little station wagon into another vehicle. The girl who was in the station wagon died at the scene. The baby was flown to a hospital in critical condition, and it's believed that he would recover from his injuries. Why am I covering this? I'll tell you in a few minutes. Delaware State Police say a man has died after the utility truck he was driving crashed, overturned on I-95 in Delaware. The driver, identified as a 29-year-old man, lost control, causing the truck to hit a concrete median and overturn. Force of the impact threw the man from the vehicle. Medics treated him at the scene for head and other injuries before rushing him to Christiana Hospital in critical condition. Died later of his injuries. Here, the driver of a utility truck that rolled was extracted from the vehicle and transported to the hospital. The man's truck was found about 1.5 miles west of exit 63, wherever that was, after it had rolled off the highway into the trees and engaging an embankment. Here, several officers on motorcycles from an outside agency was escorting a wide, oversized load. The officers were well ahead of the vehicle to pull traffic to the side. Behind them were 2 bucket trucks that were stopping at overhead power lines, to raise them in case the wide and oversized load needed to go under some power lines. The driver of one of the bucket trucks, which was southbound, went off the very steep shoulder of the pavement, overcorrected, came back across the road into the northbound lanes, striking a passenger car on the driver's side passenger door with its left front. The bucket truck then struck an Isuzu box truck When the box truck was struck by the right side of the bucket truck, it caused both vehicles to roll over each other. Cab and box were ripped from the truck. And here, early morning wreck left a man shaken but uninjured. He was wearing his seatbelt. He simply swerved to miss a deer. Accident occurred about 5:30 a.m., so it was right before daylight. Here we have a 28-year-old man crashes into a metal guardrail, and that was here just north of my location, which is in Alexandria, Louisiana. The guy was on his way to a job, 28 years old. He hit the guardrail, flipped over, landed on the highway underneath. Passersby saw what happened, got out and actually pulled him clear. And he suffered with a lot of burns. I think, I'm not sure, I've never been able to find out any more information as to whether he made it or not, but he did suffer from a lot of burns. Passersby actually got the seatbelt unbuckled and got him out of the truck before it became too bad. But you know, the thing is, Tony, why did you cover all of these accidents? Well, if you talk to each and every one of these people that were in these collisions, the morning of, when they woke up and were getting ready to go to work, each of them would tell you that I am not going to have a collision. I'm a better driver than that. Nothing's going to happen to me. I've been driving for X amount of years, whatever that is, and it's not going to happen to me. So if we could go back in time to each one of these collisions and ask the drivers that morning what their mindset was, if we asked them, you know, what their thought processes were, you know, during all of the you know, pre-job portion, they would all say that I'm good, I'm ready to go, and be a safe driver. So that's pretty much the attitude that we get when we come in and do some defensive driving training. And I just want to help, you know, help everyone make sure that they know and understand that this could happen to them. All right, what are the top causes of vehicle collisions? I'll get a little statistically for you here. Distracted driving is always the #1 cause of car collisions. It's not a criminal that drove drunk, sped, or ran a red light. Speeding, you've seen them on the highway, and you don't have to respond to this, but I'm just curious, has anyone experienced the new phenomena of Dodge Charger racing on the interstate? My first encounter was traveling through Atlanta. I was on one of the circular highways that goes around Atlanta. It's a Sunday afternoon, probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and traffic was quite heavy. And all of a sudden, I think I counted about 15 Dodge Chargers. Speed limit was 65. Traffic was doing about 60. And like I said, quite heavy. And all of a sudden, these Dodge Chargers, they were taking the shoulder of the road, the inside portion of the interstate that had a concrete wall, passing vehicles, cutting in and out of vehicles, and driving just very fast. I actually, when I counted about the 10th Dodge Charger passing me, I put my blinker on, went over to the shoulder of the road, and put my four-way flashers on to make sure that they all passed by. I didn't want to get into the collision that they were about to have. The second encounter was Christmas holidays. I was driving through Dallas, Texas, and there was about 8 Dodge Chargers that came around. The traffic was not near as heavy as it was in Atlanta, but you know, there's still quite a few vehicles on the highway, and these guys, they had to be doing 100 miles an hour going through us. The speed limit was 60, I believe, at the time, and you know, all the traffic was doing about 60, 65. And these guys were just going through. So if you've seen or heard of these guys, be careful, watch out, try not to get caught up in their driving collision that they're about to have. Next is drunk driving. We still have a lot of folks that like to have a little alcohol and then go get in their vehicle. You've seen the commercials lately. I think they're in each state now, but buzzed driving is drunk driving. So beware of that. And as you know, a commercial motor vehicle, anyone that has a CDL, their blood alcohol level is a lot less than someone with just a personal driver's license. So something that you need to make sure, especially if your company likes to have get-togethers. I know since since 2020, we haven't had any real get-togethers anymore, but I know some companies that, well, I know one company that they used to celebrate safety by having a barbecue, and they served beer. And then these guys would get in their company trucks and drive home. Yes. So where's the risk in that? Yes. Reckless driving. I just mentioned our Dodge Charger guys. The rain. At the beginning of rain, it's hard to realize how many new vehicles are on the highway now, but we still have a lot of old vehicles, and they may still be leaking a little bit of oil. That oil gets on the highway. It's not a big deal when it's dry, but when it first starts raining, the highway is going to get very, very slick. Just something that folks need to think about. Running red lights, running stop signs. It still goes on. I know several cities have tried to implement cameras at the red lights. I know one city that actually had to go back and take their cameras off because the lawyers were actually eating them up with, they were not able to issue any citations because certain lawyers were able to get them out of it. But anyway, you know, we always have to watch and be aware of people that are running red lights. If you're first at a traffic signal and your light turns green, it does not mean go. It means proceed with caution. So, and then teenage drivers. We have a lot of drivers on the road that don't have a lot of experience. I'll talk a little bit more about teenage drivers in a little bit. So, you know, I've covered a few of the accidents. We talked about what the causes of vehicle collisions are. So what is the answer? And the answer is there is no magical solution. But I am convinced, being in safety and being a defensive driver for as long as I have, there really is a magical solution. And it is convince every employee to drive defensively. Show them what you mean by defensively. I'm asking everyone right now, are you the example or are you the exception? All right. Here's some pet peeves. You know, when I'm on site, I usually get everyone to mention their pet peeves and see what they are. I've kind of put them together here: phones, texting, putting on makeup. I usually start off with a story. I was driving into work this morning, and right next to me, there was a woman that had the visor down. She was putting makeup on while she was driving. And when she came across over into my lane, I'm just telling you, it scared me so bad that I dropped my donut. I had my phone on my shoulder, and I dropped my donut. It landed into the hot coffee that was sitting in my lap and splashed up on some private parts. And it burned so bad that I actually dropped the phone and hung up on my boss while I was driving in. So I tell that story. It's not true, but I tell that because we always look at the other driver thinking they are the bad drivers, where we may be doing some of these same things ourselves. Do you ever eat and drive? You go through the drive-through at fast food restaurant, get you a burger, and there you are driving down the road eating. Ad signs. There's a lot of distractions. You know, we put up one thing: sex sells. So you see a lot of billboards that may have a sexy smile. I know a lot of dental ads lately, They put up a good-looking woman that has a perfect smile, and they ask, "How would you like to have a sexy smile?" Well, guys driving down the road see the word sex, and now that billboard is a distraction. Items in the vehicle, ladies, your purses. Men, where do you put your cell phone when it's in the car? Do you make a right-hand turn and it goes off on the floor? Ladies, is your purse in the back seat where you have to reach over to get something? Are you doing that while you're driving? Things like that. Daydreaming, just not paying attention. Has anyone on this call ever gone down the road, arrive at their destination, and look back and make the statement, "How did I get here?" I think everyone's done that at least one time. The atmosphere in our vehicles nowadays, we have air conditioning, we have dual air conditions, we have seat warmers. My wife now has a steering wheel warmer. So, we have more and more buttons that we need to press and touch and make ourselves comfortable. Passengers, this is one of my big distractions. I drive by myself a lot. So when someone is riding with me, I have the temptation when they're talking to look at them. So now I'm distracted from the road, and it's something that I have to be conscious about. Fatigued drivers, in the afternoon. Does anybody ever get that 2:30, 3 o'clock feeling? Now it's 5 o'clock and it's time to go home, and you're just really tired. You're thinking about what's going on, what you're going to have to cook, or what your wife's going to have to cook, or a lot of other things. Does the kid have baseball practice? And when are my kids going back to school, or all of this? And then the audio. We have our Sirius XM with 500 channels now in our vehicle. So it's just a lot of pet peeves that cause distractions. Speeding up and slowing down. Oh man, I call them the Sunday drivers. Those folks that come in and they speed up, get way ahead of you, and then all of a sudden they slow down. I was riding with my wife. We had about an 80-mile drive the other day, and I had one vehicle while we were on the interstate. I passed this vehicle 3 times. Every time that I passed them, they were on their cell phone. Every time they passed me, they were not on their cell phone. So, I've got my cruise set at speed limit was 75. I had my cruise set at 78, and this person I passed 3 different times in an 80-mile run. Oh boy. Blocking an intersection. Driving to work every morning. There's a lot of businesses that are right on the side of the road. There's driveways. It's a 5-line highway. Speed limit's 35. So you have people pulling into the center turn lane. You have people trying to access the center turn lane so that they can get back in traffic, and all going different ways. But then there's a red light, and your 5th car in line. Why do you have to be on the guy's tail when it's a red light? Where are you going? You could stop and let this person go through. One of my big pet peeves, as you can see. Running red lights. I've got a few red light stories. I won't go into them now because of time, but obeying traffic signs. Yield signs. Yield signs means yield to the other traffic. It does not mean that they are supposed to be yielding to let you into the traffic. Tailgaters. Oh, I can't tell you how much it bugs me when somebody comes and gets on my tail. I will try to slow down a little bit and get over if I can. I've actually sped up and broke the speed limit just to go around somebody so I can get into the right lane to get this person off of my tail. Turn signals, either on or not used. Another pet peeve. Now, you might ask the question, Tony, do you use your turn signal every time you change lanes, every time you make a turn? And the answer to that would be no. If there's no other vehicle around me, I'm the only one on the highway, and I'm going to make a turn, if I'm turning into another road or something, I'll put the turn signal on in case another vehicle comes. They know that I'm about to turn. But changing lanes, if there's no vehicles to see my blinker, I don't use it. So I try to pay attention. Now, um, I usually ask the question when I'm on site with folks, what does it mean when a vehicle is coming towards you and they have their right turn signal on? And most of the time in the audience, I get answers like they're getting ready to make a right-hand turn. And basically the answer to that is their blinker light works. It does not necessarily mean that they're going to make a turn. There's a road right here, comes out into like a service road, and there's a lot of traffic that comes in and out of that service road, off of that side road. But right next to it is a fast food establishment. So people will be coming down the service road, they put their blinker on, and they're going to turn into the fast food establishment, not the roadway. And I've seen people pull right out in front of folks. I've seen 2 collisions there already. But, so anyway, just because the turn signal is on does not mean that this person is going to turn. And then aggressive drivers, I talked a little bit about that. Sunday drivers, old people. I'm 63 years old, so I'm one of those old folks that's on the road now, okay? And then people merging into traffic, whether there's heavy traffic and the person merging in just stops, or they don't understand that they need to get up to the speed of the traffic moving so that they can actually merge in. So you've seen all these pet peeves listed, and my question, don't answer that because I'll get 100 responses, but my question is, have you ever done any of these? And I will say that I had 2 pages listed of pet peeves, and I have probably done every one of them in my driving career. So don't look at the other person. Um, try to look at ourselves and make ourselves better drivers, defensive drivers. All right. Being the example from CEO to the janitor, I've been to several companies. We've worked with executive management teams. We've worked with supervisors, and gone through the defensive driving skills and things like that. I was at one company. I had the executive management team, so we had managers, the CEO, and all the other O's. Managers, supervisors, VPs were all in the room. There was about 30 of them. Spent 4 hours going through all this defensive driving, talking about cell phones, distractions, things like that. One of the senior vice presidents, when I left the venue, I got out on the highway, 4-lane highway, and one of the senior vice presidents passed me. Speed limit was 70. I was doing right about 70, 72. There was a vehicle in front of me. This guy came around me, probably doing about 80 miles an hour with the cell phone on his left shoulder as he was driving. And this was the senior vice president. So, do we have any accountability? And basically what I tell your guys, when we're on site and we're doing the training, your accountability is your wife and kids. If you don't do it for the company, defensively drive, then do it for your wife and kids. Think about them. Always practice defensive driving behaviors. Apply the training that we're going to be talking about. Be the encourager. Commit to your peers. Hey guys, if you see me driving bad, and I've done that many, many times, if you see me driving bad, please let me know. Tell me what I did wrong. I can't tell you how many times I've gone down the road and apologized to other drivers. I've seen other drivers apologize to me, but when they apologize to me, it's like one finger apology or something. I don't know. Anyway, if you want to see a change, okay, you have to be the change. All right. Now, frontline employees, has driving statistics improved since you've done training? And my question is, why not? We've implemented driving training programs. We've brought in third parties like myself to come in. Has your driving statistics improved any? I know a lot of companies, they actually put a number on their driving statistics every year. We're only going to have 20 vehicle collisions this year. Well, what do you do when it's December the 15th and you only have 10 collisions? The goal is 20. So do you want to go out and have 10 more collisions? I don't understand that area of thinking, I guess. So frontline employees, are you the examples? And I don't trust that I have a lot of frontline employees on the call with me today, but what is your statistics, and are you the example? What do your peers think about you? I mentioned, doing pre-job briefings and things like that. I mean, pre-trip inspections. I've been with employees doing the pre-trip inspection on a vehicle, and I've had other employees drive onto the service center territory into the lot, really speeding, going really fast. As a matter of fact, there was one where the gravel was very dusty and windy, and the guy drove fast just so that he could throw dust on me. So, I don't understand how this kind of driving has no accountability. So what is your peer exception? What is the executive's perception? A lot of times these executives may drive to lunch, driving back and forth to work. They see our frontline employees, using some of these bad driving behaviors. Are they saying anything about it? Are they calling me to come and try to help driving? Managers, I trust that I probably have a lot of managers on the call today, so I'm talking to you. What is the employee perception of your driving? All right. You're going to stand there and tell your driver that he needs to exemplify defensive driving habits while he's driving the company vehicle, and then you get in your vehicle and speed off, speed into the lot, don't pay attention, maybe don't back or things like that. So whatever the employees are seeing you do, they're going to take that as acceptable behavior. And then what are some of the examples that you're using for the company? And as a manager, has your statistics changed any? If you've gone through defensive driving skills, what is our guys driving their personal vehicles on company time, being reimbursed by the company? What are their statistics? And then the executive management, what are their statistics? I actually worked with an investor-owned utility that had a vice president killed in a collision early in the year, and then a senior vice president was killed in another collision very similar toward the latter part of the year. So executive management, were they driving bad? I don't know. I wasn't called in to do any kind of investigation or anything. All I know was they had a collision, rolled the vehicle over. One of the guys actually was not wearing his seatbelt, ejected from the vehicle, and then the vehicle rolled over on top of him. So I just don't understand. Our executive management team, like I mentioned earlier, are they being the examples? Or are they actually driving better in your company? Do you actually have accountability? Do you have any way of letting this management team know that their driving is being watched by the employees and it really needs to improve? So for the executive management team, what is the employee perception? All right. Now, personally, what will make you a more defensive driver? How do you view your supervisor, your manager, your executive's driving behaviors? And why do you think your company is concerned? This is where I kind of ask everyone to the next time you're driving, whether you're going to lunch or going home this evening, next time you get in the vehicle and you're driving, take the helicopter approach. Get in a helicopter, hover over the top of your vehicle, and be aware of some of the things that you could improve on. All right. Some of the 6 criteria for safety excellence: top management is visibly committed. Middle management is actively involved. Frontline supervision is performance focused. Employees are actively participating. They're not only seeing what's going on, but they're being the example of what they're seeing. The system is flexible to accommodate the culture. So, not everyone drives in a, extremely traffic related area. So, we may have a lot of rural folks that's on the call. So, you have to accommodate the culture. What are you guys driving in? What are the risks around them? You have to assess. The safety system is positively perceived by the workforce. So whatever it is that, defensive driving flavor that you're introducing, be positive, make sure it's positively received by the employees. And all right, moving along, National Safety Council, motor vehicle crashes are, one cause of unintentional injury deaths in the United States. More than 40,000 people die every year, and it's not just alcohol, it's distracted driving. I see I have 10 minutes left and I'm not even halfway through. Men versus women. One of the big things that I always get when I'm training is, hey, Tony, who's the better driver, men or women? And here you go. There's 105.7 million women driving, 104.3 million men driving. So there's 1,000,004 more women drivers. Men drive 6,400 more miles per year than women. So we have more women drivers, but men are driving more. Basically, all these statistics are showing. So are women more at risk than men? Let's see. So who is the better driver? Women have more vehicle collisions by percentage. Well, of course, they have more drivers. All right. But they drive 30% less miles. How did that happen? They average about 11,000 fatalities. Oh, wait. There's less men driving on the road, but they cause more fatalities, especially under 25 years old. So what do we have? Aggressive drivers. There's your 28,000 fatalities right there. So less men driving on the road, men driving more miles, but they're having a lot more fatalities. So, basically women get into the minor incident collisions. We men, we're tough. We usually take out a few people when we wreck. All right, is this your kids? Ooh, where did they learn that this driving behavior is acceptable? A lot of our millennials have learned that this is just part of driving. So if this is your kids, they've learned it from somewhere. Is this your employees? Ooh. I don't want to say where that guy is. Now, here's one thing, pictures don't tell the whole story. All right. You can't tell if these people are moving or if they're, parked in their vehicle. But I just wanted to show, some pictures of some different distractions that are in the vehicle. Ooh, she's reaching back to get her purse. And it looks like she is driving down the road. Oh, there's my friend that was putting on makeup. And then, we've helped our line workers be more efficient by putting a computer in the truck. Like that's not a distraction. All right. The 3 deadly D's of driving: drunk, distracted, and drowsy. Drunk driving up to 380 times more likely to crash than distracted driver. So this is just some statistics that I was going to go through. Distracted driving is driving while doing another activity that takes your attention away from driving. texting while driving, you're 23 more times likely to crash, just like in alcohol or just, being distracted by your phone trying to text. So I usually get the question, Tony, have you ever texted and drove? And the answer is no. I was at a red light. This has happened several times. I simply looked down to see who it might be texting. And I noticed that my boss sent me a text. So it might be pretty important. So I pulled over into the next driveway, parked my vehicle, and answered the text. It's as simple as that, folks. Doesn't take a lot. Don't think that you're the exception, because you're not. It's going to happen. All right. Researchers have called this crash a classic case of inattention blindness caused by the cognitive distraction of cell phone conversation. Now, what I do with your guys when I'm on site is exemplify talking on a cell phone. So anytime someone calls you on your cell phone and you answer the phone, I don't care who you are, at some point in the conversation, you're going to think about what you're going to say, or think about what that person is saying, and you're going to look down. You're going to look down at the speedometer or something like that. Now, I just had the phone up to my ear. Now I've got an earbud and I'm hands-free, but I'm still in the conversation. And like I just said, think about this. At some point in time during that conversation, you're going to look down. And it's just human nature. It's what we do when we think about what's on the call. Now, you might not be paying attention to who's on the call. It might just be somebody, yapping at you or whatever. But that's where the distracted driving of cell phones comes in, even the hands-free. At some point in time in that conversation, and think about it this afternoon, anytime you're on that cell phone sitting at your desk, driving or whatever, notice that you will look down. All right. Drowsy driving is among the leading causes of car accidents, collisions in the United States. People just get tired and they drive off the road. Some collision stats. What are acceptable numbers for collisions in a year at your company? Are ambulance lawyers chasing your guys around, waiting for them to have a collision? Just look at how many billboards out there are the next lawyer. I'm the guy on the truck. If you have a big trucking collision, you call me. I'm going to get you lots of money. And believe me, they are chasing your vehicles around, waiting for them to make a mistake. Customer reports and complaints. I hope your company is doing something about this. We put our phone number on our company vehicle, so people are going to call in. This guy cut me off. This guy did that, or whatever. I hope that you're investigating these and seeing what exactly is happening. Now, I do understand that we're going to have some bad customers or mad customers that just got their high light bill or whatever. They're going to call and complain because your driver was driving too slow or whatever. But we're going to have that. All right. Doing internal assessments. We come in and help companies do internal assessments. We encourage you to do them. If you're not going to have us come in, we encourage you to do them on your own. Do some driver evaluations. Are you guys doing logbooks? Are they driving out, away from the territory and having to do logbooks? Is anyone, using any accountability for those logbooks, checking to make sure that they are filled out correctly? What about emergency restoration? Well, a lot of times we'll send guys off to help other companies restore power. When they come back, are they getting the proper time off? Are we giving them rest before they're coming back? Just different things like that. And then do you do driver evaluations like once a year? Come out and evaluate the drivers. You should have somebody check in their CDL and their physicals, but we come in and help do that sometimes if we need. we usually do, when I'm on site, I do some distracted, what, multitasking events, while I'm on site with your folks. And what it does is it proves to them that they can't multitask as much as they think they can. Here's one of my favorite ironic billboards: death by cell phone. Watch their stories. deathbycellphone.org. The National Safety Council, presented by Nationwide Insurance. All right. Is this not a distraction for drivers? All right. Now, following distance, I'm going to hurry up and try to get through a few of these slides. What is a proper following distance? I ask this question on site, and a lot of times I get lots of different answers. Is it 10 feet per 10 miles per hour? Hey, what about 2 car lengths? Is that a good following distance? The answer is 2 seconds, a 2-second following distance. Find a stationary object, the vehicle in front of you. Once it crosses or passes by that, give it 2 seconds. I usually do the 13-14 instead of 1001, 1002. I'll say 13-14. And then if I've passed that stationary object before I get the 14 out, then I'm too close. Now, do we need to increase that? Yes. Large trucks carrying heavy loads, you might have 4 or 5 poles on a trailer or whatever. You should have a 3-second following distance. Rain, anytime it rains, shouldn't we increase it to about 3 or 4 seconds? And I usually get asked, okay, Tony, if you're going to create that big of a distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, isn't someone going to pull over in front of you? And the answer is yes, they will. And you just back off a little bit. Or what I will do, a lot of times if I'm on an interstate and I have the cruise set, I'll take my foot and cover the brake. And if I don't have the cruise on, I'll still take my foot off of the accelerator, put it and cover the brake, because I've just encroached that 2-second following distance. So, I'm a little bit ahead of the game. All right. Like I said, I'm 63 years old. I might not move over as fast as I once did. So while I'm off of the accelerator, this person is moving on. Once I get that 2-second following distance, I can put my foot back on the accelerator. Do you back into parking spots every time? All right. I'll ask this to the audience. And the answer a lot of times I get is yes, absolutely. Well, how do you go to Walmart? Grocery stores that have angled parking, how are you going to park? All right. So every time, yes, I try to back in every time, but I can't always be successful. I do have to pull into angled parking from time to time, but it is a proven fact that people who back into parking spots, whether it's work, home, shopping, they are 80% less likely to have a backing collision. How can I prove that statistic? Well, 80% of the time you're not going to back into anybody because you've just backed into an area that when you pull up, you can see what it is. I actually worked for an investor-owned utility. We tried to implement this for every employee at every location, and it didn't go over real well until I offered a class on backing. And what I discovered is 80% of our drivers do not know how to position their rear view mirrors. So when you're in the driver's seat and your rear view mirror is looking at the back door handle, don't you know what your back door handle in your car looks like? So shouldn't your mirror be, adjusted to where you can see other drivers that are on the road? All right, another one of my little pet peeves. So, do you back only at work? What about angled parking? What about the family? What are statistics? And here's my favorite statistic of all time: 78% of all drivers believe that they are better drivers than the other drivers on the road. And as you can tell, this is an impossible statistic. All right. So everyone thinks that they're the better driver than everybody else on the road. And like I said, this afternoon at some time, get in that elevator, that helicopter, and hover over your driving. All right. So the rest of this presentation, and as you can see, I put too much in here, about 4 minutes over time. But the rest of this is about, pre-driving inspections, maintaining your vehicle, conducting startup and backup checks for our CMV drivers. We also go into hauling materials on your trailer. This is one of my favorite slides coming up. There you go. How line workers determine trailer load ratings. Here we have a 10-inch wheel, 8-lug, narrow bearing, axle rating, 4,400 pounds each. So this trailer is rated to carry 8,800 pounds. All right, and as you can see, the tire is kind of low. And when I back out, there you have it. We have 3 reels of wire on there, 3,124 pounds for each of the 2 big ones, 1,819 pounds. The front of this trailer is loaded with approximately 1,200 pounds of bolts and galvanized hardware. So, before we put the second reel on, we were already overloaded. The trailer weight 2,200, including added reel stands. So you can see we added some reel stands up there. So estimated load on this 8,800 pound rated axle, 11,467 pounds. So how do line workers determine trailer load ratings? Hey, it fits. We're good to go. All right. And that's what we end up having a lot out there. Now, the rest of this, I'll kind of just go through. We talked about the right of way, yielding right of way, using and changing lanes in your big vehicles, negotiating curves, downhill grades, and intersections, making right turns, left turns, how does your truck track, and things like that. So hopefully I've covered a few things that we can look at and improve our driving as we go out. And like I said, if you're an ISPC member, then you can get a 30-slide presentation similar to this that has all the speaker notes. It's the safety meeting topics. All right. And feel free to go on and use that. So the aim of this free webinar is to help increase our safety awareness, our defensive driving skills, help be the example. Come on, let's get out there and make sure that we're showing others what we're supposed to be doing, how we're supposed to be doing it. Don't just talk the talk, walk the walk, guys. So I really don't remember during introductions if Jamie even mentioned my name. I'm Tony Boyd. I work for the Institute for Safety and Powerline Construction. And I just, really appreciate all of you guys being on the call with me today. Thank you so much for your attention. Like I said, I hope that we were able to improve somebody's driving skills. Last but not least, teaching our guys how to respond to a vehicle crash. Doesn't matter if it's your fault or not. Never admit fault in a collision. Collect all the information you can, draw a picture, take your phone out, take pictures of the scene, try to get any witnesses that may have seen the other person at fault, and never get out of a vehicle and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it was my fault." Okay, get out of the vehicle. You may apologize for the collision. You're not apologizing that you caused the collision. All right. So with that, I've gone 9 minutes over. You know, again, like Jamie mentioned, if anyone would like to donate anything to the cause, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you for your attention. Feel free to get on our website, Institute for Safety and Powerline Construction. Get on our website, look around, look at some of the type of training that we offer. Myself, Jim Vaughn, and Mac Turner would be more than happy to come on site and you know, help you guys do driving and whatever other training needs you may have. Feel free to give us a call. We're just all about helping everyone work safe, drive safe, make sure that we have a good career and everyone gets to retire, go home happy, healthy, and you know, prevent the collisions, prevent the accidents. And with that, I guess, Jamie, do you have any closing remarks?
That was about it. You covered it all.
I covered it all.
A couple people in the chat just said thanks. There was no question, so I guess you covered everything really well.
All right. Well, if anybody else is left with us, feel free to give us a call or go on site. Our phone numbers are on the website. So thank you for your attention, and I appreciate everybody being on and the comments. Thank you so much, and have a safe and wonderful day. Tony out.
Bye, guys.